Happy Friday, television family. We're back, 9th day of August 2024. I am Dan Kuntz, and no, I did not shave this morning. Just didn't have the time, and this is pretty hairy for me. Thought we'd just get that little personal hygiene thing out of the way right now. 66 degrees. You'll notice the clouds will begin to thicken up. You want to look to the west, to the Cascades. We have a red flag warning. Starts at noon today, goes until midnight tonight. Things have changed since we last got together just about 24 hours ago. About a 50% chance now of thunderstorms. We don't like that. The higher the elevation you live at, the better chance you have of seeing sky to ground lightning hitting the ground. Unfortunately, right in the bullseye of this incoming system, the Chelan-Stehekin area. That's the last thing they need. Hopefully, if we have lightning at all, hopefully none of this happens, but if it does happen, there will be some associated rain with it. We're just keeping our fingers crossed, but things are going to get a little dicey. The best chance for some thunderstorms, at least here in the Wenatchee Valley, between 6 and 9 today. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. today. That's really in the bullseye for us in the Wenatchee Valley, but we do have a red flag warning. Complete details are coming up. Keep your fingers crossed. News, you don't have to keep your fingers crossed. We're going to do it for you. We know what's going on there. Sports, Mitch Haniger. Wow, this is why baseball has no clock. You always get your chance, and Mitch Haniger took full advantage of that with a dramatic victory over the Tigers last night. Highlights of that. The Apple Sox wrapped up their regular season on a winning note. It's off to the playoffs now. Of course, we have a couple of teams playing in their respective World Series. The Cal Ripken World Series is going on, and the Babe Ruth World Series is going on. This is the national championships. We've got two teams out in the Midwest playing for that. We'll have all of that in sports. In the back half of the program, Casey Safford, our own Casey Safford, sat down with Amber Hallberg. She is the Chelan County Housing Program Manager. They have a brand new office right down there at Columbia Station, which is a good place to be. You need to have a physical office for people who need the services of the Chelan County Housing Program. We'll hear from Amber in the back half of the program, and everything else we can cram in over the next 57 minutes. Let's do our tour around the valley of north central Washington. A little hazy, not imagine. We're going to show you the Black Mountain camera. When you see the Black camera here in a minute or two, you're going to see those high clouds begin to roll in. But yeah, showers and thunderstorms are definitely a possibility. It's a 50-50 chance anyway. And again, up in the Medhow Valley, the Okanagan Valley, Waterville Plateau, those higher elevations where you're closer to the clouds than we are down here in the valley, you have a chance of seeing a mix of wet and dry thunderstorms later on today. Let's head on up to Lake Chelan from our Upper Butte camera. Pretty smoky up there. That's pointed up towards, I don't know where it's pointed out exactly, but that is our Upper Butte camera. I think it might be pointed towards the Waterville area, really. I'm not sure, but it is kind of hazy and smoky up there. Pretty quiet, all things considered, on the Pioneer Fire. It was a big day for those guys as well. They were hammering the fire with water drops yesterday. Let's head on up to Lake Wenatchee. Hazy up there. Can't quite see the clouds rolling in. Up Lake Wenatchee. We've been using that camera a lot lately, and why not? It's a beautiful view. Good morning to the Cater Glen Golf Resort down there at the bottom of your screen. You can see a little bitty sliver of Fish Lake way off to the right. And finally, let's go to Black Mountain, because us looking at the Cascades, and there are those clouds I was telling you about. And we're going to start seeing those thunderheads build up as the day progresses. It's going to be fairly sunny in the Wenatchee Valley and all of north central Washington for most of the day today. It's going to be later on today when we start getting worried about the possibility of some thunderstorms. The question is the lightning going to be associated with the extinguishing effects of rain? That we don't know. As Mother Nature gets to call the shots, and she can be quite unpredictable. That's our Black Mountain camera high above Shaston, looking back towards Leavenworth. We do have one slide to show for you, and this is from the National Weather Service about scattered afternoon thunderstorms. Again, the Cascades, the Okanagan Valley, the Highlands up in the Waterville Plateau, here in the Wenatchee area in the higher elevations. The red flag warning begins at noon, goes until midnight. Again, here for the Wenatchee Valley, our best chance of a pop-up thunderstorm and hopefully rain associated with it. Dry lightning's bad. lightning with heavy rain. That's doable anyway. 6 to 9 o'clock today, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is when we're going to keep a very close eye on the skies to see if we get any of those expected thunderstorms. There's a 50% chance of them. I wish it was more like a 0% chance, but it is what it is. From the National Weather Service, here's what we're looking at. Sunshine for the most part today. Again, for the most part, fairly sunny, but then we're going to see a pretty good chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. Again, 6 to 9 is the heaviest period where this may happen. It's going to be mild because of the associated cloud cover. We'll top off at about 95 today. That's hot. Yesterday we had 93. We've been in the 90s every day so far this month. That's going to continue until we get to Monday. So a chance of showers and thunderstorms for the Wenatchee Valley tonight. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms in the Methow Valley, the Okanagan Valley, and unfortunately in the Chelan-Manson Stehekin area. I don't want to tell you that, but that's what it is. Tomorrow, maybe a pop-up thunderstorm. It'll be hazy. High of about 95. Any kind of rain we get will be in the afternoon hours. Chance of a thunderstorm on Saturday night goes down to about 20%. A little breezy, by the way, on Saturday night. No real wind today or Saturday, unless, of course, you get caught in a thunderstorm. We wrap up the weekend with lots of sunshine and a high of 93, and then we cool down a little bit from 93 to 89, and then from 89 to 86 on Tuesday. Then we'll be hovering right around the mid to upper 80s, but lots of sunshine Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We need rain. What we don't need is thunderstorms because that means lightning. We will keep a very close eye on how this develops as this day progresses. It's 7 minutes after the hour. Don't go anywhere. Grab a cup of coffee and come right back. We'll do the news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, located on South Wenatchee Ave, has the largest selection of spas and swim spas in town. Stay cool this summer in an artesian swim spa and use it all year long. We enjoy helping families reconnect one spa at a time. Hot tubs are proven to improve sleep and decrease arthritis pain. Our passion is water, so please bring us a water sample, and we will help you diagnose your pool or spa water for free. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, your pool and spa experts.
The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
Swung on and hits on a hop past the shortstop.
The Wenatchee Apple Sox are in the West Coast League playoffs, and NCW Live Channel has you covered. Join us for the divisional round this Sunday at 6:30. Coverage is brought to you by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, Gold supporter, Town Auto Group, also by Plum Crow Bar and Grill, Chelan Douglas Community Action Council, AmeriCorps, and Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate. Join us for the playoffs right here on the NCW Live Channel.
Third with a hit for slide.
68 degrees, a little on the hazy side. We'll be in the mid-90s again for our afternoon high. But again, the big story is the red flag warning begins at noon today, goes till midnight tonight, with about a 50% chance of thunderstorms in our viewing area, especially between 6 and 9 tonight. It's 9 minutes after the hour. The East Wenatchee man suspected of killing his girlfriend and leaving her body in their apartment with her young child is due to be arraigned next week. Ashton Bunting Jr. is charged with second-degree murder in the June 11th death of 28-year-old Cynthia Ring. Police say Bunting left handwritten notes in the apartment he shared with Ring, which appeared to admit to the murder. Then he fled the state in a vehicle. He was arrested in Ohio 1 week later, transported to the Chelan County Jail on July 24th. His arraignment was originally due to take place yesterday in Douglas County Superior Court, but Bunting's attorney was in trial and was unavailable for the hearing. He remains jailed on a $3 million bond. He's scheduled to be arraigned now on August 15th. The national retail chain Big Lots has announced plans to close 315 stores, including the Wenatchee location out there in Old Station. The announcement came in a regulatory filing on July 31st, a month after Big Lots had announced plans to close only 35 to 40 stores due to a pullback in consumer spending. In June, Big Lots reported a net loss of $205 million for the second quarter of this year, with Big Lots president and CEO Bruce Thorne citing, quote, a continued pullback in consumer spending, end quote. A Wenatchee Big Lots employee who requested anonymity said the store must be entirely closed by the middle of October, but of course it may close before then. Wenatchee's former police headquarters back on the market. The 13,000 square foot building right across Yakima Street from our studios was constructed back in 1931. Served as the city's police department and jail until about 20 years ago. It's been listed as surplus property since March. Back in May, it was put under contract to be sold to real estate agent Nick McLean for more than $500,000. Well, the city now says McLean has exercised his option to back out of the deal. Within 30 days, he has done so. So a new interested buyer, if you're interested, there she is. Last year, the city sold the fire station across the street from the old police station for $525,000. That building is slated for redevelopment as a high-end restaurant sometime in the future. An East Wenatchee woman is charged with animal cruelty for allegedly killing a family member's dog during what appeared to be a mental health crisis. Wenatchee police say they found the dead dog back on April 25th at an address in the 800 block of South Chelan, bound with ropes and wrapped in pillowcases. The dog appeared to have been bludgeoned and strangled. Its tail had been removed. Wenatchee Valley Animal Control officers say the 25-year-old defendant admitted to cutting off the dog's tail after the dog died, but otherwise claimed to have no memory of harming the dog. She was placed in behavioral health care and later released. Chelan County prosecutors filed the felony charge of animal cruelty in July. The first hearing in the case was scheduled this week in Superior Court. Well, back up to Stehekin we go. About 80 residents still remain in Stehekin as the area remains under a level 3 evacuation, has been since July 28th. Chelan County Emergency Management's Rich Magnuson shared during a community meeting in Manson that some people will leave the area each day, but others return later on to their homes. The evacuation level has not changed since July 28th. During that same meeting, fire officials gave an update on how they are protecting structures in Stehekin.
Currently, right now, we have over 27 miles of hose on the ground, multiple pumps. We have barged, there's 10 fire engines up there. There's a water tender. We've got pickup trucks, UTVs. We've got crews. So the plan is there's hose stretched from one end of that landing all the way up to the big ranch back there. And the pumps have been running for, I think, 5 days straight now. So. And with the guys, we have a day shift and a night shift, and so they're patrolling, they're turning on the pumps, there's sprinkler kits, and with the shifts, they're patrolling 24 hours a day and making sure everything stays running and stuff like that.
Pioneer Fire is still at about 37,000 acres and still just 13% contained. And the Chelan County Noxious Weed Board, they'll be visiting Wenatchee neighborhoods this month to talk to property owners about those things. I hate them. Goat heads, also known as puncture vine, and they suck. They grow in mats of stems low to the ground. They have hairy leaves and small yellow flowers. Of course, they're poisonous to livestock, and they produce all those spiky burrs that track into new areas and grow new weeds. If goat heads are found on your property, you'll be given information on how to get rid of the goat heads. Fines can be issued if you fail to remove the plant on your own, and the board has to do it for you. To report a noxious weed on your property, visit the Chelan County Noxious Weed Control Board's website. Don't like the goat heads. Nobody does. That's the news. A quarter after the hour. One more newscast before your weekend gets going. At 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight, 5, 6, and 10 on TV. If a lot of people have a smart TV, I finally got a smart TV. It's pretty cool. or if you just use the internet or whatever, we got you covered. The news will be up and running on our homepage, ncwlife.com, our YouTube page, our Facebook page. We try to make it as easy as possible for you to know what the heck is going on around here. We're pretty proud of our efforts, too. If you haven't downloaded our app, there is the QR code right there on the screen, so snap away. And if something out there you think warrants our attention, to get a hold of us, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. A surprisingly large amount of sports coming up, including a great night for Mitch Haniger, the hero. Sports in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from Les.
Hey there folks, Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to experience Blueberry Hills. Of course, the food is fabulous, like our cheese splints, our famous French dip, our legendary Eggs Benedict, and unforgettable burgers. But we're more than just great food. People come from all over the world to experience what's been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
18 minutes after the hour. Here's the scenario. It's 2 outs. The bases are loaded. It's the bottom of the ninth. You're down 2 runs. You're down to their last strike. And Mitch Haniger hits a game-ending 3-run double. Mariners rally, beat the Tigers 4-3 last night. It was Haniger's franchise-leading 8th walk-off hit.
He's not the only one that felt like that. First base side, fair ball, base hit, no longer a scoreless game. Parker Meadows continues to affect this series. It's an RBI double, and it's 1-0 Tigers. McKinstry, right center field, alleyway, and gap-worthy. 3-0 Tigers.
There it is. It's that slider. It slows it up just enough that Zach McKinstry can get to the barrel. It's down, catches the middle of the plate. Zach McKinstry just drops that barrel, lines that into right center.
Belade trying to size this up. How much is on it at the wall? And it's gone. A rainmaker of a home run from Luke Raley. Now the Mariners are on the board. That gets the crowd going. Basically middle in, a towering fly ball out to right. No player in franchise history has ever posted more career walk-offs than Mitch Haniger. Out to right field, and it gets on past Belade. Raley is in. A Rosarena blitz run and anchor. He's on his way home. The Mariners win it. They walk it off in the 9th inning. That man does it again. Mitch Haniger. What a great at-bat. Fouling off the slider before he got that last pitch. Solid line drive into right. It looked like the right fielder was going to have a chance to catch it, and once it got past him, all that speed on the base is able to come around and score. Another great moment for Mitch Haniger. Haniger's franchise record, 8th career walk-off, seals the deal in the 9th inning and posts a dub for the Mariners.
Haniger talked to Jen Mueller of Root Sports after the game, plus, of course, the traditional bath from the water cooler.
I have a feeling I know the answer to this question. Is your heart beating as fast as my heart and everybody else's in here?
Yeah, thank you guys for bringing the energy. We appreciate it.
You are down to your final strike. I know you're keeping an eye on the dugout. You are down to the final strike.
What was the question?
Well, I hadn't quite gotten there. Victor was part of the celebration there. Where are you trying to take that pitch?
Honestly, just trying to stay hard up the middle. I know Vesty's got a good fastball, so got a good pitch there to hit and put a good swing on it.
Initially, I thought that ball was maybe in his glove. When did you know it was going to roll as far as it did?
Yeah, I was just booking it, hoping it hit grass, and luckily couldn't come up with it.
What was the challenge in getting things going earlier in the game in this one?
Yeah, I think we hit some balls hard. They pitched well, and this is the type of win you need to kickstart things going. We're a good team. We didn't play great this series, but it's good to finish this way and just rolling through the weekend.
I really hope that you do not downplay this next stat, but Mitch, you have done something more than any other Mariner in the history of the franchise. This was your 8th walk-off hit as a Mariner. What does that mean to you in everything that you've accomplished?
It's cool. Love playing here in Seattle. Love you guys. Love you Mariners fans. And yeah, it's special. And it's always good coming up in the 9th and getting things done.
It still feels like you downplayed that one. Go inside and enjoy this one with your teammates.
Manager Scott Service said that starting pitcher Brian Wu and the bullpen gets credit for keeping the Mariners in the game before Haniger's heroics.
Yeah, eerily similar game to last night, except they caught it last night and they didn't catch it tonight. So starting with pitching, I thought Brian Wu continues to roll. Really good outing for him. Obviously, they put the couple runs up there, or 3 runs in the 5th inning. And, I think if he had one pitch back tonight, it would probably be just the one to McKinstry there for the double to drive in a couple. But he threw the ball really well. He's on an awesome roll. They didn't do much against him other than that 5th inning. And, our guys out of the bullpen, I thought Jimmy Garcia, again, awesome outing. And JT Chargois has really picked it up. I thought his stuff was awesome tonight. So say all that, and we're still down in the 9th, and you needed to get something going. Raley, a big night again, another homer, and Randy, tough at bat, finds a way to get bat on the ball, and then I got to give Polo a ton of credit. Will Vest threw some really close pitches that Polo was able to lay off, and I think when you're up in that spot, as far as Mitch Haniger, I think it's a good lesson. Mitch was not having a great night. I know he was frustrated hitting the double play earlier when he had some guys on base, so you have to let it go. Every bat is a new adventure, and certainly with the game on the line, he's finding a way to get the bat on the ball, and we caught a break. They didn't make the play tonight. They made the play last night, so we'll take it. It's always not pretty, but you got to find a way at the end, and I give our guys a ton of credit for not quitting. We got to put some traffic, we got to put some pressure on them. We were able to do it and then come through with Hanny's big hit. So need to take this momentum and carry it over to the weekend series.
And the weekend series features the Mets. They're going to be in town for a 3-game set tonight. Bryce Miller will face Jose Quintana. Well, with the division-leading Houston Astros not playing yesterday, Seattle pulls back into a tie with the Astros atop the AL West. Texas is 5.5 games back after beating the Yankees on a rainy night in the Bronx. The final there was 9-4. Well, the Seattle Seahawks have their first chance of hitting somebody else besides their own teammates tomorrow night. It'll be in SoCal as their preseason begins against the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. New coach Mike McDonald says it's a chance to see how the new schemes will play out on both sides of the ball.
A couple things driving the decision is, one, the science of getting the exposure. Obviously, with new systems, new schemes, guys wanted to knock the rust off, so to speak, make sure we're sharp going into week 1. So there's 2 things going on. It's one, we want to get the starters out there, and then also some individual decisions on certain positions that guys, we might hold back, or maybe don't put them out there maybe until week 3 after the Tennessee practice, things like that. So I think defensively you'll probably see a good amount of starters out there to start the game. We'll see how long that lasts. And then offensively, as of right now, I don't believe Gino's going to go. A couple other starters aren't going to go as well, which is all good, you know. But then we'll sharpen it out. Guys will have a great showing, and we'll see where we're at and move forward.
Our own Eric Granstrom is on his way to Inglewood. Why he's being punished, I don't know. Anyway, he'll have a special report for Monday right here on this very program. Aiden Doherty became the third player in Apple Sox history to record the top batting average in the West Coast League. He clinched the batting title. Apple Sox beat Bend 10-4 last night at Vince Guenna Stadium in Bend. To wrap up the regular season, our good buddy Joel Norman has the wrap.
The Wenatchee Apple Sox wrap up the regular season with a 35-19 record as they take down the Bend Elks with a 10-4 triumph on Thursday night at Vince Guenna Stadium. Wenatchee got contributions all over the lineup and led 8-0 after 2.5 innings at Vince Guenna Stadium, and they got some great work from plenty of guys. Max Hartman scored 3 times. Aiden Doherty picked up a base hit to finish with a .380 batting average, the time for the best in Apple Sox history among players to play in at least 40 games in a single summer. And Kanoa Morisaki reached base 3 times and tossed an inning and a third of scoreless ball to help seal the victory. Now Wenatchee will be heading to the postseason where they take on the Victoria Harbor Cats this weekend. Game 1 is on the road on Saturday night before the Apple Sox return home on Sunday at 6:35 to take on the Harbor Cats in Game 2 of the North Division Series. Tickets for that game are available right now at applesox.com/schedule. With your Apple Sox update, I'm Joel Norman.
Thank you very much, Joel. Last night, by the way, was the end of the season for 8 teams in the West Coast League, and 8 teams move on to the playoffs. Here is the scoreboard. For the last day of the regular season in the West Coast League, your winners, Wenatchee 24-6. Must have scored a couple of touchdowns. Anyway, let's move on to the playoffs, because now that's all that counts. We are good to go. Now, the first round of the playoffs is a best-of-3 affairs. So number 1 seed out of the North, the Wenatchee Apple Sox will take on Victoria. That's on the road, but not in Victoria. The Victoria Stadium is being used for a Canadian Football League game, so Wenatchee still has to take the ferry to Victoria. Then they've got to travel another hour and a half by bus, because the game's actually going to be in Nanaimo. That's tomorrow at 6:35. The other matchup in the North is the number 2 seed Bellingham will be at number 3 Edmonton. That'll be on Saturday. In the South, it's number 1 Corvallis and number 4 Ridgefield. Number 2 Portland will travel to number 3 Bend. Again, best of 3 in the first round of the playoffs. After that, it's just 1 game, and we will have Sunday night's Game 2 of the Apple Sox and the Harbor Cats right here on the NCAA Live channel. Go to the ballpark. It's going to be a beautiful night. If you can't make it, you can watch it right here. Eric Granstrom and Brandon Schmitten with the call will take to the air at 6:30 on Sunday afternoon. 2 local teams begin their quest for a national championship today. The Columbia River Greater Wenatchee 13-year-old team. They begin pool play in the Babe Ruth World Series. That's being held in Glen Allen, Virginia. They'll take on Cherryville, Indiana at 1 o'clock. Then they face the host team on Sunday. And the Wenatchee All-Stars, they are in Crown Point, Indiana. It's the Cal Ripken World Series. They'll have to wait until Sunday morning to begin pool play at 7 o'clock our time against Southeastern Kentucky. Wenatchee also faces Vincennes, Indiana later Sunday morning at 11:05. Again, that's local time. And finally, can't forget about our friends up on Fancher Heights. It's the Columbia River Throwdown at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. It's the Jerry's Auto Supply Pro late models, the Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars, the Knutson General Contractor Banderos, the Tri-State Mini Stock Tour, and the Angel Bail Bonds Legends. The Angel Bail Bonds Legends. I'm going to behave myself this weekend, so I will not need the services of Angels Bail Bonds. The gates open at 4, racing at 6 tomorrow night, and those are just some of the games that people are playing. At 29 minutes after the hour, it is August 9th, and this is the 50th anniversary of the day Richard Nixon resigned and Gerald Ford became president, so today is National Veep Day. That is the seal of the Vice President of the United States. Of course, originally the Vice President of the United States was the Consolation Prize. From 1788 to 1800, the presidential candidate who got the second most electoral votes was the Vice President. I say we bring that back. Wouldn't that be cool to have Donald Trump Vice President to President Biden? That'd be entertaining. 14 vice presidents have become president. 8 because the president died in office. 5 were elected in their own right, and 1, Gerald Ford, because Richard Nixon decided to quit and go back to San Clemente. We had 3 vice presidents in a very short period of time. We had Spiro Agnew, and then in October of '73, he resigned because, well, he was a criminal and a jerk. He was replaced by Gerald Ford, and then Gerald Ford got the presidency, and Gerald Ford was replaced as vice president by Nelson Rockefeller. It all happened in about a 2.5-year period. Believe it or not, until 1974, there was no official residence for the vice president. When Harry Truman was vice president, he wasn't vice president very long, he and his wife Bess just lived in an apartment in Washington, D.C. They didn't even have Secret Service protection. Finally, in 1974, Congress said maybe the vice president should have a house as well. And so the vice president lives at the Observatory Circle on the grounds of the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. That's the official residency of the vice president. In 1974, Congress authorized it to be the home for the vice president. It was remodeled. Gerald Ford was supposed to move in, but he became president before he had a chance to move in. Nelson Rockefeller could have moved in, but he had more money than God, and he said, no, I'll just get my own joint, thank you very much. So even though it was 1974 when the vice president finally had an official residence paid for by the government, the first vice president to move into it was Walter Mondale, and that was 1980, and that was 1977, so it took a while to get that taken care of. Happy Veep Day today to all of you vice presidents out there. All right, today in history, happy 80th birthday, Smokey Bear. August 9th, 1944, 80 years ago today, the United States Forest Service and the Wartime Advertising Council begins to release posters featuring Smokey Bear. For the first time, there's no "the" in there. It's not Smokey the Bear. It's just Smokey Bear. In the 1960s, a small little black bear cub was severely burned in a wildfire in Arizona. They rehabilitated it, and they sent it off to Washington, D.C., and it lived in the National Zoo until it died. There was actually a real-life Smokey Bear that lived in our nation's capital. Happy birthday, Smokey Bear. Only you can prevent wildfires. And Mother Nature, too. 79 years ago today, well, we dropped the big bomb on Hiroshima. That didn't work. And we thought, well, we'll drop a bomb and the Japanese will quit, and that didn't work. So they said, fine, we'll do it again. Here you go, Nagasaki, devastated when the Fat Man, that was the name of the second atomic bomb, was dropped by the B-29 Bockscar. 35,000 people killed outright. About 25,000 Japanese war workers, about 2,000 Korean forced workers, about 150 Japanese soldiers. The idea was to eliminate their ability to make bombs against us, and that finally got the job done 79 years ago today. Normally, when you gain your independence as a country, you do so by throwing off the shackles of the oppressed government, the king or whatever it is, and you declare your independence, and there's a Revolutionary War, and you win it, and you have your own country. It's usually not the other way around. August 9th, 1965, Malaysia tells Singapore to get out. Singapore was a part of Malaysia. Of course, Singapore is just way down the lower tip of Malaysia. On this date in 1965, after a couple of years of Singapore not getting together, Singapore is a city, of course. Singapore and Malaysia were just a fussing and a fighting and a feuding. Finally, Malaysia said, Singapore, take a hike, get the hell out of here. Singapore is expelled from Malaysia on this date in 1965, becomes the only country to gain its independence unwillingly. At least the only one that I know of. It worked out pretty good. Things aren't so good in Malaysia, but things are doing just fine in Singapore, the city-state, which became its own country 59 years ago today. 55 years ago today. August 9th, 1969, on a hot summer night in Los Angeles, followers of Charles Manson murders Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant, Abigail Folger of the Folger coffee fortune, Wojciech Frykowski, an actor from Poland, Jay Sebring, a very famous men's hairstylist in Los Angeles, and a high school kid who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, Stephen Parent. And the nightmare in L.A. began. Here is how it was reported the following day.
We have a weird homicide.
In a scene described by one investigator as reminiscent of a weird religious rite, 5 persons, including actress Sharon Tate, were found dead at the home of Miss Tate and her husband, screen director Roman Polanski. Miss Tate, who starred in Valley of the Dolls, was 8 months pregnant and was found in a bikini-type nightgown with a rope around her neck attached to the body of a man.
2 bodies inside, 2 bodies outside.
Among the other victims were Hollywood hairstylist Jay Sebring and coffee heiress Abigail Folger. Authorities would allow no one in an unofficial capacity inside the posh $200,000 home in the hills overlooking Los Angeles. When police arrived, they found the telephones and electricity lines cut. The bodies had been dead about 12 hours. They were discovered this morning by a maid who ran screaming to neighbors. One officer summed up the murders when he said, "In all my years, I have never seen anything like this before."
Steve Parent was the first victim. He was just he had just graduated from high school, and he was there because he was trying to sell a cassette deck to the caretaker who lived on the campus where the murders took place. He just happened to be sitting in his car, and he was the first person the killers came across. That was 55 years ago today. And finally, of course, we just mentioned this. This is the 50th anniversary of the day Richard Nixon resigns. 12 noon, August 9th, 1974. Nixon becomes the first president to resign from office. His vice president, Gerald Ford, becomes president. Nixon spoke at a press conference and then boarded Marine One for California. Here's how CBS covered it.
This is the south side of the White House, the side that faces the Washington Monument, Turning Basin, and the Lincoln Memorial. They are emerging from the so-called diplomatic entrance downstairs.
There is the man who will be president in another couple of hours, Gerald Ford and his wife, Betty Ford.
Vice President Ford this morning, as he left his home to come here for this occasion, said it was indeed one of the saddest incidents that he's ever seen. There's the president waving goodbye, and you hear the applause.
President Nixon peering out from behind the bullet-resistant glass of Vice President and Mrs. Ford, standing just to the left of Mr. and Mrs. Cox, and just in front of that old magnolia tree that was planted by Andrew Jackson. President Nixon's helicopter going over the fountains of the White House South Lawn, over the back black fence, high over the ellipse. Toward the base of the Washington Monument.
And President Dan is getting his last look now as he peers back from that seat in the helicopter.
What a scene
of the
there,
White House as President of the United States. This will be the last look. By the time he comes back to this point, if indeed history decrees that he does at any point, he will, of course, no longer be the president.
The Air Force One was somewhere over Missouri, I believe, when 12 noon struck in Washington, D.C., and Gerald Ford took the oath of office. So it left Andrews Air Force Base with the president on board. When it landed in California, he was no longer the president. 50 years ago today, I remember that. Finally, birthdays. The great Robert Shaw. Do we have birthdays? There we go, Robert Shaw, yeah. Quint, of course. In Jaws, he was so good. He played King Henry VIII in A Man for All Seasons. He was good in that, too. And they almost didn't get to make the movie The Sting, one of the greatest movies ever made, because they couldn't get anybody to play Doyle Lonnegan, the bad guy in The Sting, and they wanted Robert Shaw, and he said, no, I'm not real interested. But finally, Paul Newman actually flew to London with a copy of the script for The Sting, and they said, come on, Paul said to Robert, come on, man, we need you because we want to make this movie, but we can't get anybody to play the bad guy. And he read the script and says, I will be Doyle Lonnegan. Robert Shaw, born in the state in 1927, died of a heart attack at the age of 51 at Whitney, Houston. Born in the state 61 years ago today. It's hard to believe she's been gone for a dozen years. Whitney Houston, born in the state in 1963. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, and you know who they are by now. They're Alpine Air for heat and air. Call Alpine Air. It doesn't look like there's any break in sight for you to shut off the air conditioning, but the next chance you get a chance to, and you think it might need a tune-up, give the folks at Alpine Air a call because they know what they're doing. Mike McNaughty has an opinion about online ads. You can't avoid them. We'll see what Mike has to say about that. And then Amber Hallberg is the program manager for the Chelan County Housing Program. They have a brand new office at Columbia Station, right where they should be. She sat down with their very own Casey Safford. And that interview is coming up. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Campfire North Central Washington, serving youth ages 3 to 18. Register today in one of Campfire's programs. Club members meet regularly with volunteer leaders to learn responsibility, sharing, cooperation, and citizenship. When a child is involved in Campfire, they will be actively learning and engaged in activities, encouraged to learn new skills, feel a part of the group, learn to work in a team setting, participate in planning, goal setting, and making lasting memories.
At Confluence Health, our mission is clear: to provide exceptional care for our community. We believe in healthcare that's personal and local because we're just like you, members of this great community.
We are Confluence.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
We are Confluence.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether.
We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. So you're at work, and it's your break time, and you just need a few minutes to decompress, and you open up Microsoft Solitaire, a game that's been on Windows for who knows how long. And you know, but before you can play a simple solitaire game, some stupid ad comes on for another game you have no interest in playing, or for some drug that you can't take because you're allergic to it, or an ad for a vacation in Texas, which is the last place anybody on earth would want to go. But there's also a link to remove the ads for only $2 a month. You know, my question to Bill Gates is this: Yo, Bill, how much money do you need? How much do you want to soak me for? Yeah, you really want to hit me for an extra $2 a month just so I can play a cheesy game that comes with an operating system that you're already charging me a rental fee for? I mean, come on, enough is enough. Jeez, how much money do some people need? This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
Swung on and hit on a hop past the shortstop. The Wenatchee Apple Sox are in the West Coast League playoffs, and NCW Live Channel has you covered. Join us for the divisional round this Sunday at 6:30. Coverage is brought to you by Apple Valley Honda, Harvest Valley Pest Control, Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, Together for Youth, Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center, and the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Join us for the playoffs on the NCW Live Channel.
Third with a hit for slide. Are you tired of getting less for your money? At Abby's, our founders placed over 100 slices of pepperoni on a giant pizza, and 60 years later, they haven't changed a thing. Order real value at abbys.com. Right now, fresh and juicy tomatoes are in season. That's why Abby's is celebrating summer with a special pizza covered edge to edge with beef and Canadian bacon. And if you want it covered with fresh tomatoes, they'll do that too. Enjoy Abby's August special pizza at a very special price.
Downtown Wenatchee, something for everyone.
Watermill Winery Tasting Room has become a very popular downtown venue. Their wine club offers spectacular value at affordable prices. Watermill, open daily across from the convention center. The 108 is known for their amazing craft cocktails and happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. Next to Walkabout Grill on Wenatchee Avenue.
Downtown Wenatchee, it's all here. When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
The Chelan Douglas Homeless Housing Network, which runs the coordinated entry program for people experiencing or at risk of experiencing homelessness, has moved into a new office space here at Link Transit's Columbia Station on South Columbia Street in Wenatchee. I'm here today to talk about all the details of this move and the services that will be provided with Chelan County Homeless Program Manager Amber Hallberg. Amber, thank you for being here and making the time for us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm really excited to share about our new program.
All right, so to go ahead and get started, could you give us an overview of the services that the coordinated entry program provides and kind of what local agencies and organizations you point people to?
Absolutely, yeah. So coordinated entry is really the access point for people who are experiencing homelessness to get connected to services. And so anybody who is experiencing homelessness or that is at imminent risk of homelessness, and imminent risk is described as having 14 days to leave their current housing situation, and it has to be like they have to leave within those days. Pay or vacate notices don't really count for that, so like legal evictions and things. But they can apply to coordinated entry, and the services that we provide are really finding out what programs those people would be good candidates for by completing assessments that look at a lot of pieces of their background, like criminal history, mental health, housing history, like have you been evicted, those kinds of things, and then puts them into the wait list for those programs. Some of the agencies that we work with are like Community Action Council, Women's Resource Center, YWCA, and then a ton of other ones. We could probably be here for 10 minutes listing all of the awesome collaboration that we have. But that's really essentially kind of coordinated entry in a nutshell. It's a referral service.
So before this office space, where and how was the coordinated entry program operating? Were you running into problems the way it previously ran, and have those problems now been mediated?
Yeah, so a little context for coordinated entry. It is a state/federal mandate depending on the funding source. Majority of the housing programs that are funded by the state require the use of coordinated entry. And so it's a contract that either the county can choose to keep and operate the coordinated entry system, or they can contract it out to nonprofits. It's becoming more and more of a best practice in the state to just have the county be the entity who does coordinated entry. And the reason for that is because we're an objective entity in the sense that we don't have a housing program to internally refer people into like some nonprofits might. And it's not to say that that's like they're gonna cut corners and things. It's just like when you wanna help somebody and you have the resource available, it's so easy to jump people in line to be like, oh yeah, come to this program. So it's really nice to have the county be the one that's in charge of that. So we've had it go to a couple of different nonprofits in the past. It's been in the community since I think about 2016, 2017. And we have just found that it's going to be a lot better streamlined if we can have it at an entity that doesn't have other external programs.
What prompted this move to Columbia Station?
It's kind of a couple of things. It was like a culmination of things that really turned into something beautiful. So we knew for a while that we wanted to probably bring coordinated entry into the county, but there's a lot of things that have to take place before that. So we were just looking at like where would we house coordinated entry, where makes sense. We wanted to have it close to other agencies because a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness don't have cars. So we want to make sure that it's connected to transportation. And so a lot of conversation of that kind of happened. We looked at different places, and then it came about that Link was really wanting to implement some more de-escalation services and stuff at Link, and they had this space available and more conversations started happening, and it just kind of all worked out to where we could have Catholic Charities be with us and do some of that de-escalation piece, but then us be here to enroll people into coordinated entry if they aren't. So it just ended up being a really great partnership between the three entities.
So what has Link's involvement been like since moving into this space?
Oh, they have been wonderful. They have been such good collaboration partners. They really have given us a lot of free rein to do what we need, of course, within reason, right? But they've been very supportive. They've even constructed a wall, redid the counter space down there, because the counter was originally a bagging and luggage counter, which is very different than an office counter. So they handled all of that and just have been an incredible partnership to us.
How was this move to Columbia Station funded, and what went into the move as far as like, you know, training, hiring new people, stuff like that?
Yeah, so we get funding from the state and then our local document recording fees. And so between the two, we had the funding already available because we have the contract, right, from the state. So it was already something that was implemented, so we had it in the budget already for this. The hiring process, you know, so like any hiring process, we had to make sure we had the job descriptions down and everything, and then really looked for the people who had the right background, personality, all the things, because there's a lot that goes into this work. And we hired an incredible team. I might be biased, but I think that they're a dream team. Yeah, that's really kind of how we brought it into the county. But funding really wasn't like an issue because it was already kind of allocated.
So roughly how large is this dream team of yours?
There's 3 of them. So we have a coordinated entry lead, and her name is Angie Irvin. And then we have our 2 CE specialists, who are the ones who do the bulk of like the assessments and things. And they are John Davies and Juan Luisa.
You would call this relocation to this station specifically a strategic location move as far as being close to other organizations that are relevant?
Yeah, I would say so. Like I said, we were really trying to find somewhere that made sense, that worked for the community that we're serving and then the community as a whole. But if you think about where we're at in our location, there's a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness that are on this part of town, because we have kind of like a triangle, if you will, of the Lighthouse and then St. Francis House. So it's really close within those proximities, but then just down the street you'll have YWCA, WRC. So it just made sense to be really kind of centrally located.
So how has having a walk-up counter and a physical presence helped impact the coordination entry program altogether? Do you feel like you're getting more foot traffic and more walk-ins that you're able to help and give assistance to?
Yeah, so this past year when we were trying to figure out does it make sense to move it to the county and all the conversations we had with that, one thing that we tried to pilot with the previous entity that had coordinated entry was doing kind of a work from home thing, seeing like if that worked. We would not recommend doing that just because, 1, not everybody has phones, and 2, there's something to be said about that person-to-person interaction. And so we have seen such a great return on our investment on that, if you will, for people coming in, being able to follow up, let us know if they've had changes of their situation, to do a reassessment, or just those different types of things. So it's really invaluable to have a physical location. I feel like that's something that's probably always going to be a part of coordinated entry.
All right, and then lastly, where does your drive to help the local homeless community stem from?
That's a great question. I think I've always had kind of a servant heart, and then I'm also a government nerd, so this kind of marries the two things. But my drive really comes from, I was grateful to be a part of creating a community response program at a nonprofit that I worked at in college. And until that point, I'm like, what do I do with a communication and political science degree? And just having that internship at that nonprofit and being a part of that and getting to hear the people who get so excited when we could help them pay their back rent or we could help them with XYZ expense that they had, it just was like, I could do this forever. Like, it's like I don't work a day in my life. And so it's just really rewarding to know that I put in a lot of work and I put in a lot of effort, but all of that work and effort is going to help for the betterment of somebody else's life and for them to then succeed and do great things with them. So that's where I think my drive comes from.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you, Amber. That was all the questions that I had for you. We wish you so much success here at your new location.
Yeah.
So the Homeless Housing Network operates 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, on the first floor here at Columbia Station.
What once was old now is new to the NCW Life Channel. Tune in for Bonanza, Superman, The Andy Griffith Show, The Beverly Hillbillies, The Invisible Man, The Lone Ranger, and The Lucy Show. Check your program guide for classic programming on NCW Life Channel, your local TV station.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Local cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour moseslake.com and start your adventure today.
72 degrees here in the big city. You can see the haze. The clouds are starting to thicken up a little bit, although it'll be mostly sunny for most of the day today. Right now in Ephrata, it's already 80 degrees. Now, we talked about this red flag warning. It's for basically the east slopes of the Cascade. Wenatchee is at the very lowest part of the geographical area for the red flag warning. It goes all the way up to the Canadian border, right in the bullseye of where we think some thunderstorms could occur later on this afternoon in the early evening hours. Is unfortunately the Lake Chelan area, basically the east slopes of the Cascades, the Okanagan Valley, the Okanagan Highlands, the Wenatchee area, again in the upper elevations around the Wenatchee Valley and the Waterville Plateau, and that does include Leavenworth too, I might add. The red flag warning starts at noon today, goes until midnight, so this is a different kind of forecast than what we talked about yesterday. So showers and thunderstorms, a distinct possibility. Some of the thunderstorms would be wet, which is fine. The dry thunderstorms are not good, so we shall see how that works out. Keep your fingers crossed. The best chance for thunderstorms here in the Wenatchee Valley is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. tonight. From the National Weather Service, here we go. Sunshine again for the most part, with a high of about 95 degrees. If you just look to the west, that's where the clouds are going to be coming, especially from the northwest. Tonight, again, a chance of thunderstorms, about a 50% chance of thunderstorms with, of course, the associated lightning. Alongside that, with an overnight low, if you want to call it that, of 69, it's going to be mild. Tomorrow, we could see some raindrops in the afternoon, still some instability in the atmosphere. We'll top off at 95, but the chance of a thunderstorm tomorrow is about 30% as opposed to 50% for this afternoon and tonight. And then a slight chance of thunderstorms Saturday night. Should be dry, although a little breezy at times on Saturday night. We wrap up the weekend Sunday, but lots of sunshine and a high of 93. A gradual cooling trend. Keep in mind that 89-degree high on Monday is normal for this time of the year. Every day so far in the month of August, we've been in the 90s, and that's going to continue into the weekend. That's it for us. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.